One driver just won $1 million at Dover. Another just watched his championship hopes bleed out on pit road. Again. And somewhere in Charlotte, 3 legends just got their names engraved in NASCAR history forever. Memorial Day weekend in NASCAR doesn't wait for anyone. Here's everything you need to know. Charlotte Motor Speedway is the center of the NASCAR universe this Memorial Day weekend, and the storylines heading into Sunday's Coca-Cola 600 are stacking up fast. We've got a new Hall of Fame class, pit crew shakeups, a potential double, and the longest race of the year. Before we get to Sunday though, we need to talk about what just happened at Dover, who just earned a spot in NASCAR's most exclusive club, and why one of the sport's most decorated pit crews cannot figure out how to change 4 tires cleanly. Denny Hamlin did exactly what Denny Hamlin does. He went to Dover Motor Speedway, started from the pole, avoided every wreck that swallowed the field, and walked away $1 million richer. It was his 3rd consecutive win on the Monster Mile, and his 2nd career All-Star Race victory. At 45 years old, Hamlin also became the 2nd oldest winner of the All-Star Race, behind only Mark Martin, who was 46 in 2005. But the race itself, it was a demolition derby from the opening laps. 8 caution flags flew throughout the event, and 23 of 36 drivers were involved in incidents. The carnage started almost immediately. On lap 2, Ryan Preece came down the banking in turn 1 and made contact with Todd Gilliland. That triggered a chain reaction that collected Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, John Hunter Nemechek, and Michael McDowell. Preece's number 60 Ford slammed the outside wall hard enough to set the rear end on fire. He climbed out uninjured and later took full responsibility on social media. Chase Briscoe came closer than anyone to beating Hamlin. He finished 0.887 seconds behind in 2nd place. The 2nd straight year, he finished runner-up at Dover, behind the same teammate. Briscoe explained his battle with the car's handling throughout the final segment. Anytime I would get the lead on a restart, I would just be so loose that I would burn my right rear tire off. On the long run, I would just be hanging on. I almost needed to be 2nd for those first 30 to 40 laps of a run. He also acknowledged what racing Hamlin under pressure teaches you. Anytime you can race around Denny, you learn a lot. He's just so good at the cat and mouse game. Kyle Larson had one of the most frustrating days of his season, retiring from the race with 60 laps remaining due to a power steering failure after being caught up in the early lap 2 wreck. Now, did Dover work as an all-star venue? The short answer from drivers and fans is not really. The race ran 300 laps, far longer than what an exhibition event should demand, and was scheduled head-to-head against the PGA Championship. NASCAR also eliminated the Open, the qualifying race that had long been one of the most entertaining parts of All-Star Weekend. Chase Elliott, after being collected in 2 separate wrecks during the first segment, summed up the frustration plainly. "It was pretty wild. I knew better. I saw it getting crazy. I should have bailed. The format, the scheduling, the venue choice, none of it clicked the way NASCAR needed it to." Onwards to Charlotte. On May 19th, NASCAR announced the class of 2027, and it begins and ends with Kevin Harvick. In his first year of eligibility, Harvick received 92% of the vote, 46 of 50 ballots, making him one of the most decisive first ballot selections in Hall of Fame history. The numbers justify every single vote. Harvick won Z60 Cup Series races over 826 starts, ranking 11th all time. He is the 2014 Cup Series champion and holds wins in all 4 of NASCAR's crown jewel events: the Daytona 500, the Coca-Cola 600, the Brickyard 400, and the Southern 500. He also won the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series twice, in 2001 and 2006, giving him 121 combined wins across NASCAR's 3 national series. But the numbers alone don't tell the full story. Harvick entered Cup racing under the most difficult circumstances imaginable. When Dale Earnhardt Sr. was killed on the final lap of the 2001 Daytona 500, team owner Richard Childress turned to the 25-year-old Harvick, who had been competing in NASCAR's lower series. In just his 3rd Cup start, Harvick won at Atlanta Motor Speedway, an emotional victory for Richard Childress Racing and for the entire sport. Tony Stewart, who later partnered with Harvick at Stewart-Haas Racing, put Harvick's legacy into the clearest possible perspective. He is the complete package. He's a great race car driver, and he's great in the booth, but he's an amazing car owner. He knows how to build the packages and hire the right people. He's excellent with sponsorships and excellent on the management side. People don't realize how good he is. Stewart went even further, calling Harvick the most well-rounded person in NASCAR today, adding, "There is nobody that can do what he does. I'm not even close to what he does." Harvick, characteristically understated, waited for the announcement sitting in a pickup truck in the parking lot outside the Hall of Fame building. "It felt so arrogant to come sit in the room," he said. "I've never been somebody who wants to pat myself on the back. I wanted to be respectful." He received 92% of the vote. That number speaks for itself. Joining Harvick is Jeff Burton, known throughout the paddock as the Mayor. Burton earned that nickname not just for his 21 Cup wins and 27 O'Reilly Series wins, but for his post-driving role as a bridge between NASCAR and its competitors through the Drivers' Council and as an analyst for NBC Sports. Burton was selected in his 6th year on the ballot, receiving 32% of the vote. He received the call while playing golf. "The generations before us, they made it all possible," Burton said. "So to be enshrined in something that my heroes are in, that just means a lot." From the Pioneer-era ballot, Larry Phillips was selected with 38% of the vote. Phillips, who passed away in 2004 at age 62, won 5 NASCAR Weekly Series national championships and was the first of only 2 drivers to accomplish that feat. His crew chief estimated he won somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 races across dirt tracks and short tracks where formal record keeping was inconsistent. Over an 11-year stretch from 1989 through 1996, Phillips won 220 of 289 NASCAR-sanctioned starts. Lisa France Kennedy, executive vice chair of NASCAR, received the Landmark Award for her decades of contributions to the sport, including leading the revitalization of Phoenix Raceway and the Daytona Rising Project. The one name conspicuously absent from this class is Greg Biffle. Biffle holds the most combined wins across all 3 national series of any Hall-eligible driver who has not yet been inducted. He finished 5th in the modern era voting. This was also the first ballot since the December 2025 plane crash that tragically killed Biffle and 6 others. The fact that Biffle was never inducted, and now will never see that moment himself, raises a legitimate question about the Hall's election process. With only 2 modern era spots available per year and a growing backlog of worthy candidates, deserving nominees are being eliminated by an artificial restriction on class size. If NASCAR adopted a threshold-based system similar to MLB's 75% rule, multiple worthy candidates could be inducted in the same year without forcing voters to choose between legends. As it stands, the dam is clogged, and there are no signs it is opening anytime soon. Ryan Blaney is currently 4th in the Cup Series standings and won at Phoenix earlier this season. On pace, on strategy, on raw speed, the number 12 Team Penske Ford is one of the strongest cars in the field. But on pit road, the story is entirely different. Through the first 8 races of 2026, the number 12 crew has lost 88 positions on pit road. That is not a rounding error. That is a systemic problem. In mid-April, Team Penske brought in a new jackman, Graham Stoddard, from Front Row Motorsports, after the original plan to swap with Wood Brothers Racing fell through due to unforeseen circumstances. Now ahead of the Coca-Cola 600, another change has been made. Rear tire changer Zach Price, on the number 12 crew since 2021 and part of the 2023 championship winning team, has been replaced by Justin Fox, also arriving from the number 4 Front Row Motorsports team. What makes this particularly hard to process for Penske fans is that the number 38 Front Row Motorsports team, which is supplied pit crew members by Team Penske, just won the 2026 Mechanics Wear Pit Crew Challenge at Dover with a time of 12.612 seconds. Penske has the personnel. The number 12 crew simply has not found the consistency. With 600 miles on Sunday and playoff positioning increasingly relevant, the margin for error on pit road gets smaller with every race. The action at Charlotte Motor Speedway begins Friday night with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. The headline there is that Connor Zilisch will drive the number 77 Spire Motorsports Chevrolet after Carson Hocevar was pulled from the entry so he could focus entirely on Sunday's Cup race. Zilisch, 19 years old and a North Carolina native, is running full-time in the Xfinity Series with Trackhouse Racing in 2026 and carries previous Spire experience, including a 5th-place finish in the Truck Series race at the Charlotte Roval last season. Spire's truck lineup for Friday also includes Kyle Busch and Shane Van Gisbergen, one of the strongest Truck Series lineups the organization has fielded all year. Saturday's Charbroil 300 in the Xfinity Series carries its own penalty storyline into the weekend. After post-race inspection at Dover found 2 improperly secured lug nuts on the number 7 SS Greenlight Racing Chevrolet, NASCAR issued crew chief Corey Seelig a $5,000 fine and a one-race suspension. The team also loses pit selection at Charlotte, a meaningful consequence on a 1.5-mile oval where track position shapes strategy across long green flag runs. Sunday is the main event, the Coca-Cola 600 miles, one of NASCAR's 4 crown jewel races. At DraftKings Sportsbook, Denny Hamlin enters as the favorite at plus 500, riding the momentum of his Dover All-Star win. Tyler Reddick sits next at plus 650, followed by Kyle Larson at plus 750. William Byron, Ryan Blaney, and Christopher Bell are grouped together at plus 850. The defending race winner, Ross Chastain, sits at plus 2,800, notably the same odds range he carried when he won it in 2025 after leading just 8 laps. The long shot to watch is Katherine Legge, listed at plus 100,000, who is attempting NASCAR's most grueling logistical feat, racing in the Indianapolis 500 earlier in the day before making the trip to Charlotte for the 600. Tony Stewart is the only driver ever to have completed all 1,100 miles of what is known as the double, accomplishing it back in 2001. Speaking of the double, Prime Video releases Kyle Larson versus the double on May 21st, one day before the Charlotte weekend officially begins. The documentary covers Larson's 2 attempts at completing the Indianapolis 500 and Coca-Cola 600 in the same day in 2024 and 2025. Both attempts failed. Weather derailed the first, and a combination of weather and crashes ended the second. Larson has been candid about both experiences. It's so easy to think about all the negative sides of not completing the double. This was a good reminder of how much I loved the experience and had so much fun on qualifying days, the practice days, and just different team events. It was just a good reminder that, yeah, it wasn't all bad. The film includes more than 2 years of footage and provides behind-the-scenes access to private conversations with Rick Hendrick, Jeff Gordon, and crew chief Cliff Daniels during the critical decision-making moments surrounding both attempts. Now, heading into Sunday, Larson lines up as one of the clear favorites at plus 750. And with a crown jewel race at a track where he has historically competed at a high level, the pressure is squarely on whether he can deliver when it matters most. Can Hamlin sweep Charlotte after Dover? Will Blaney's rebuilt pit crew hold together for 600 miles? And who comes out of nowhere at the longest race of the year? Drop your Coca-Cola 600 pick in the comments. Who's winning Sunday? If you're not subscribed yet, hit that button and turn on notifications, because this weekend, NASCAR delivers.